Have you ever felt attacked by a thought? More specifically, a thought that is in form of a philosophical question or an existential question. You know, something like, what is existence? What does it mean to be a human? You know, how come I am here? How come I exist? You know, what are we doing on this planet? Or sometimes it's something like, how can I hear my own thoughts? You know, does life exist after death? Is everybody else just a figment of my imagination? What is really going on here? Hey guys, it's Swamy from A Coach Called Life, and today we are going to be talking about existential and philosophical questions during depersonalization, and we'll see how to handle them. So let's jump right in. If you experience depersonalization or derealization, chances are that you might experience a lot of scary and intrusive thoughts. And some of these thoughts can be in form of existential or philosophical questions, and this can cause a lot of distress in people. Most times, people are not asking these questions. People don't have any inclination towards philosophy or like the nature of reality, and then they get depersonalized and suddenly all they think about is what is the nature of time? What is reality? What is existence? And several such questions. And, it can be a really jarring experience for someone to have these questions go through their mind constantly. And even to someone interested in philosophy, these questions can still cause a lot of pain because people find that they have no control over them. Growing up, I was always a curious kid. I was really interested in, learning more about science. I watched a lot of documentaries about space and black holes. That was the thing that really interested me, and I'd always grown up with a lot of curiosity around things. And then later on in my early 20s, I got into reading about spirituality and basic tenets of certain religions, and I really got interested in lucid dreaming and lots of interesting out there topics. But when I went through depersonalization, it kind of changed my relationship to those topics and questions, because I started getting bombarded with a lot of philosophical and existential questions, and I found that I could not turn them off. I cannot just switch them off, because previously I would think about these topics and I would just move on. I would move on to something else, and I would be able to talk to people and have a normal conversation, make small talk. But after depersonalization, what happened was I would just lie on my bed, and suddenly I just get overtaken by so many existential and philosophical questions. It kind of spiked my fear of going insane, which was already too much because of the depersonalization. But having all of these existential questions and thoughts come and take over your mental space, it kind of made me feel on the edge. But over time, I have found ways to handle and work with these existential philosophical questions, and I wanted to share some of those with you. So let's get in and see what are some of the ways you can deal with such existential thoughts and philosophical questions. Before we proceed, I would like to tell you that whatever that I'm going to be talking about next comes from personal experience and should not be substituted for medical advice. So please use your discretion. The reason we feel so fearful around these thoughts and questions is that we feel unsafe to begin with. Depersonalization actually attacks your sense of safety. That's where the problem starts. So as soon as your sense of safety is missing, these thoughts can easily rattle us. Before, when you used to feel safe, before depersonalization, you used to feel safe, and you might have these questions from time to time. I know I had them, but they couldn't shake me. They couldn't rattle me to my core because I never felt unsafe before depersonalization. But depersonalization really attacks your sense of safety. I've written an article about this before. I've even made a video about this on this YouTube channel. So I will link both of them in the description. Make sure you watch those and read that article, because it talks about how to create a sense of safety, And everything, and recovery in depersonalization begins with creating a sense of safety. Next, try some grounding exercises. Your mind right now is really agitated, and you are very much focused and inside of your head all the time. I went through depersonalization. I know how it feels. You're mostly like, your focus is mostly on the inward. It's not projected outwards. When you're normal and healthy, you go between inside and the outside, but when you're depersonalized, you mostly are stuck inward, right? So what happens is that we get stuck in our heads, like we keep thinking, and we just get really caught up in our own thoughts. So what we need to do is to get some grounding, get your awareness out of your head and into somewhere else. And for that, I would suggest you try to focus on your breathing, or my favorite grounding exercise is just sitting or lying down on a bed and just feeling the weight of my body push against the bed or the chair that I'm sitting on. Just feeling that, and like closing my eyes and just like feeling the weight of my own body pushing against the surface. That's a very good way to ground yourself. I'm not going to be talking more about grounding exercise because there's a whole lot of videos out there or articles out there that can help you. So just be sure to search for grounding exercise, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of them. Once you worked on your safety and your grounding, these thoughts may not necessarily stop. That's not the point of these exercises. The point of working on your grounding and creating a sense of safety is that you can finally accept and allow these thoughts, these philosophical questions, come and go as they please. That's right. Don't fight these thoughts, don't argue with them. Just let them come and go. Just watch them like clouds passing by, like you're watching a cloud just go by in the sky, and don't really attach yourself to this thought. Tell yourself, I am ultimately safe. This is just a thought. I am ultimately safe, and this thought cannot harm me. Tell yourself, I am safe. I'm just going to allow this thought to come in and go. Once you do that, you will see that your distress level is actually going down. You're not reacting to these thoughts in the same way that you did before. You're not reacting to these thoughts with fear. Instead, your reaction just becomes a little bit of an inconvenience. You feel a little bit unpleasant, and you feel a little inconvenienced by these thoughts, but you're not scared of them. You're not afraid of them, because ultimately you know that you're safe. Finally, what really changed it around for me was that I started looking at these thoughts as like an invitation. I started, wondering about these philosophical questions and existential questions. I understand, many people are not inclined towards philosophy. Many people don't care about the nature of reality, because they have jobs to do, they have family to support, and I get it, but sometimes, try to spare at least a few minutes a week. And if you're getting bombarded by these thoughts all the time, just try to pay attention to them, just even try to be curious about them. That changes your relationship to these thoughts from something fear-based to more curiosity-based, and then see what happens, because I believe like these questions are very important questions. These questions have been asked by so many philosophers, both from the western part of the world and the eastern part of the world. They are valid questions. They are questions concerning some of the deepest truths about the world and the universe that we live in. So try to approach them with curiosity and see what happens. You can even try to educate yourself and read books on these topics. Couple of books that I would recommend are, The Tao of Physics or Sophie's Choice. If reading books is not your thing, just watch videos about authors like Alan Watts or Eckhart Tolle, Tara Brach, even people like Sam Harris, Alain de Botton, or even William Lane Craig. He's a favorite of mine. But if you don't want to listen to something heavy, just read poetry. Read Rumi's poetry, or read Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. At the end of the day, you have to understand that you live in a mysterious universe. Before depersonalization, we are kind of blind to this fact. we go on about doing our mundane things, and we don't even spare a second to ask the deeper questions in life. But depersonalization breaks us out of this conditioning. It kind of makes us stare at the deeper nature of reality, that's not surface level, and it makes us wonder about the universe. It actually creates a sense of wonder, but initially the sense of wonder might be in the form of fear, because as I've told you before, depersonalization attacks your sense of safety. So once you've cultivated safety and once you start feeling more grounded, try to create some curiosity around these questions, and try to look at these questions as signposts, leading to a much more interesting, fulfilling, and deeper life. Awesome, guys. I hope whatever I've said in this video was useful to you, and don't be afraid of these questions. These questions are not going to harm you. You're not going insane. Trust me, I've been through this, and now I kind of look at the world and these questions with a little bit of curiosity and wonder, and maybe that works out for you in your case as well. In any case, just let me know in the comments, what are your questions? What bothers you all the time? And maybe let's have a discussion there. Until my next video, take care and good luck with your recovery.